all. I'm Sarah Bumgardner with AAFMAA, the American Armed Forces Mutual Aid Association. Since 1879, we have been serving our military community. Our mission is to be the premier provider of financial solutions for the American Armed Forces community. As the Director of Partnership and Member Engagement, I talk with other nonprofit organizations about what they are doing to help service members, their families, veterans, and the military community at large. And today's topic is, should I buy a home in 2024? So I have Kevin Crooks Jr. He is the Business Development Manager of AAFMAA Mortgage Services. He has grown up in Jacksonville, North Carolina with a Marine Corps warrant officer as a father. Kevin understands firsthand the commitment and sacrifice made by the military families. And Kevin attended Tulane University in New Orleans and graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Management. Having spent more than 15 years in the mortgage industry, he personally has helped hundreds of families realize their dream of home ownership. Kevin, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about 4 things. And we have a slide here to make it really easy for everyone so they know what we're going to be talking about. The very first thing we're going to be talking about is how is the current home buying market? Then we're going to talk about what are 3 things those thinking of buying a home in 2024 should consider. And then what do the experts say about VA home loans? I'm really interested in that one. And then refinancing, should you do it? These are all really great questions. So let's start it off with number 1. How is the current home buying market?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, in a word, it's a little more normal. We work than the previous few years. We work in a lot of military markets, and they're still showing some robust purchase trends. I mean, I think nationally, some of the major metropolitan markets have seen a little more softening, but overall inventories are still low in most areas. Despite the fact that there are less buyers in the market, the reduced inventory levels have kind of still kept the market fairly competitive. Some good news is, though, that due to kind of the recent perceived stabilization of inflation, we've seen mortgage rates improve, somewhat significantly over the last 30 to 60 days or so. So the good news is that, due to the decrease in, rates, buyers at a certain price point or budget area, their affordability has increased, i.e., there are more due to the lower rates. There are now higher price points that will still fit within their monthly budget payment amount.
That's great. Well, and interest rates have been kind of the talk of the year, right? So I'm glad that you talked about the interest rates. I'm glad to know that they are going down a bit. That's good information for those out there who are thinking about purchasing a home.
Yeah, hopefully the worst is over. It's looking that way.
That's great. So when we talk about buying a home in 2024, what would be 3 things that you would say, make sure you take these into consideration?
Yeah, and more so like in any other year, purchasing a home is an investment, and it's people's largest investments. But at the same time, it's really a deeply personal choice. In the last few years, people, have been lucky and able to accumulate equity rather quickly. But that, historically, I think the 30-year average is a home appreciates like 3% a year. So, although the broader economic landscape would play a role in your decision making, the real key lies in your own personal introspection. You need to ask yourself, would you be content in residing in this home for the next 5 years? In this location? Does this home not only meet your needs now, but will it meet your needs in the next few years? And the big thing is can you maintain not only the payments but the maintenance of a home comfortably? And if evaluating these factors kind of remains the most pivotal, and in order for you to make a well-informed decision for you and your family, to decide if now is the right time for you to purchase a home. I mean, historically, though, if if the personal, check boxes are met, someone will be in a much better financial position, whether buying a house, in the current moment versus renting for the next several years. All in all, it's usually a good financial decision if it fits your needs.
Yeah, those are really great points. And I'm glad that you made the point of not only can you manage the payment of the home, but can you maintain the home? Sometimes we don't think about the cost of home maintenance can add up. So you have to think, about that. I'm glad you really pointed that out. Maybe especially for younger home buyers who think, yes, I can maintain this payment, absolutely. But what happens with maintaining the actual property, right? If something should go wrong. So that's a really great point. I'm glad you made. We do, of course, AAFMAA, we are a military-centric organization. So is AAFMAA Mortgage Services. We are here to help service members and their families with their financial needs. And one of that is talking about the VA home loan. So what are the experts saying about that VA home loan and using that VA home loan?
Yeah, I mean, that the VA home loan has been near and dear to my heart. I've spent the majority of my career, working with the military clientele, and it is still one of the most, if not the most advantageous financial options for a home purchase. It's uniquely enables a borrower to not only finance 100% of the home's value with absolutely no money down, but it also doesn't require a monthly mortgage insurance payment. So from an affordability standpoint, not only initial cash outlay, but the monthly cash outlay, the VA home loan is, you're hard pressed to find something that's a better option. I mean, and then even from, as we discussed the rates a little earlier, from an affordability standpoint, due to the government backing of a VA loan, the interest rate is typically, it depends on the day, but it's usually 0.5% lower than a conventional rate. So when you factor in not only the rate being 0.5% lower, but the absence of mortgage insurance, which can be several $100s a month, the VA loan is a powerful tool for those who are eligible. And on top of that, it's actually, despite what, there's some negative inferences in the marketplace sometimes, but the VA loan is actually one of the, if not the easiest loan to qualify for. So, when you consider an initial down payment, your ongoing monthly payments, it's really easy for the VA loan to emerge as an exceptionally affordable choice. It's a compelling option that's hard to surpass in terms of, affordability all the way around.
Yeah, that's really great information to know about that. That 0% down, that's huge. Most home buyers are having to put money down into a home and have that cash, liquid to do that. And in a VA home loan, you sounds like you just don't have to, and that's such a great benefit for our service members and their families. And I'm really happy to hear that it is easy to use. A lot of times when we talk about putting forth something within the government, it can be complicated, but it sounds like this is a really straightforward process. And especially for those who are thinking about purchasing a home, you're a service member and your family's thinking about buying a home, that you can absolutely talk with our mortgage service advisors to learn more about how to optimize that VA home loan. So thank you so much for telling us a little bit about that. We're going to move on to refinancing. I know this is a question that kind of comes up often with people. Should I refinance? Should I not refinance? Walk us through some things we should be thinking about in the refinancing world.
Sure. And, with the current downtrend in rates, we're probably actually, if this momentum continues a little bit further, we're actually probably starting to get in a window where those who have purchased over the last, say, 6 to possibly 18 months, you may be getting in a window where you can, look at what's called a rate term refinance to, just simply lower your rate and payment. Another great advantage of the VA loan is that it allows what they call an interest rate reduction loan. It's a streamlined refinance that doesn't require an appraisal or any credit documents from the borrower. The VA makes it real easy for that service member to be able to just kind of roll their mortgage down to a lower rate. And when you look at that, and one of the things that we always educate any potential, member or borrower on is when you're evaluating a refinance, you really want to look at the cost versus the benefit. And the cost is what is it going to cost me to refinance this loan? That's your closing costs. Now, luckily, you don't have to pay these out of pocket, and that may lead some other lenders to not, highlight what it actually costs to, to do this transaction. But, there's attorney fees and things that are needed with any mortgage, transaction. So, and then the benefit is what is it going to save me monthly? And then, typically you want the break even of those two factors to be within a 3-year time frame, and ultimately within your, ideal time frame of home ownership. So just like for an example, let's say that a refinance for a given customer is going to cost them $3,000, but that monthly savings by reducing their interest rate is going to save them $200 a month. We would do a quick calculation. You divide 3,000 by $200 a month. And in that case, I think, that's 15 months. We would categorize that refinance as highly beneficial. You're going to recoup your costs within 15 months of the new payment. Now, ideally, if you're going to sell within 3 months because you have to move or something like that, then the refinance wouldn't make sense for you. But, given that, if you're going to basically anticipate on owning the home longer than that break-even point, then, that's when it starts to be in your favor to refinance. There are, I forget the numbers, but they say like 90% of all current mortgages were originated, prior to 2019 to 2022, when rates were in this 2 to 3% range. So those that are fortunate to have those rates, they might be, some time before you'd be able to refinance to lower it. But the good thing is we still have, those individuals still may need to access some equity to, pay for college or help improve a home, things like, consolidate some debt. And the good news is that, instead of refinancing the home mortgage, you can still keep that rate at, 2 or 3% or whatever it may be. And then you can access your equity through a second mortgage. It's just basically a brand new loan that, goes right behind your existing mortgage. And if somebody's only needing, $50,000 to $75,000, it wouldn't make sense to refinance, the other $200,000 that they already have at 2%. So, that option is available now. And then, for those that have bought or, refinanced over the last, 12 months or so, you probably are getting into a window where you may be able to roll your rate down and save some money monthly.
Yeah, it sounds like refinancing. There's lots of questions that could be associated with, should I refinance? But more importantly, how should I refinance that? You brought up a great point about you can do that with just a small portion of the mortgage so that you're not having to refinance the whole thing and you're getting a loan right kind of on the back end of that. That's awesome. Taking into consideration how long you're going to be in the home or owning that home, that break-even point you talked about, really important to know if it's going to be cost beneficial for you. So it sounds like when it comes to refinancing, there could be lots of potential questions as well as various outcomes that can really have an impact on your overall finances, which is why it's really great to ask questions from an expert about your own personal situation. So I really thank you, Kevin, for being here and being that expert today to answer some of those questions more broadly. But if somebody says, I've got way more questions and I want to contact AAFMAA Mortgage Services and Kevin, how can they do that?
Yeah, I mean, they're welcome to contact me. My number is up here on the screen as well as my email. Our AAFMAA, yourmilitarymortgage.com has a list of all our available loan officers, or we call it military mortgage advisors. So yeah, please, we do pride ourselves in a consultative approach to the mortgage process. We're not just trying to get you in a mortgage. We want to make sure that you get in the right mortgage that's beneficial for you. So yeah, please feel free to reach out to me at 703-675-7286 or visit our website.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kevin, for being here today, for talking through more about how AAFMAA Mortgage Services can help kind of do a consultation and answer those questions. And also that we really understand the military community and the military ecosystem. So we're understanding those VA home loan, what that looks like and all the refinancing that can go along with that. So if anybody has questions, please feel free to reach out to AAFMAA Mortgage Services. As always, because we are talking about financing and we are talking about mortgages, we do have a disclaimer here that basically says, we're giving advice. And if you'd like to know more, to please contact AAFMAA Mortgage Services. But other than that, that's going to wrap up our AAFMAA Live for today. So if you would like more information about AAFMAA and financial readiness within the military community, you can, of course, subscribe here to the QR code on your screen. Otherwise, I thank you for joining, and I will see you next time. Bye now.